Hello students, this is Mr. Lesage, and this video goes along with the Unit 1, Lesson 1 in the Algebra 1 course, and the topic is interpreting graphs. When I look at a graph and think about interpreting the graph, I think of the situation we have as a story that needs to be told. For example, if we look at this graph right here, we see that the story that's being told is something about a speed of a car. Over here we show the speed in miles per hour, 0 down here, and the speed increases as we go up, increases as we go up. Here's the time in hours, so at 0 hours, or at the starting point, this is where we start, and then we move over here 1 hour at a time so we can track what's going on. So what is the story in this graph? Looks like we start at time 0 and speed 0, so we start with the car stopped. Then the person driving the car pushes down the accelerator and it starts to speed up. So as time goes by, the speed is increasing, increasing, increasing to here. So during segment A, the entire time, the speed is increasing. When we get to segment B, the speed does this. It's not going up, it's not going down, it's not increasing, it's not decreasing, so it must be staying the same. So the car started out, sped up, increased the speed, got to a certain speed, maybe they were on the highway, and the speed stays the same for a while. Then we get to this point, and the speed starts to go back down until we reach this point, and then we're back where the speed is going the same rate. So started out, got faster, maintained that speed for a while, maybe got off the highway, slowed down, then got on a city street and we're driving slower at a constant speed. Let's look at this graph. There's no title here, it just shows us this line on the graph, and the question might be something like, describe what happens to y in relationship to x. So x is going this way, y goes this way, so at this starting point on x, starting at the left where x is negative, as we move across the x-axis, we see that the y values are going down. Y values are decreasing. So at the very beginning, as we move from negative to positive with x, the y is decreasing. We reach this point down here, and then as we go further to the right on x, or further in a positive direction for x, the y begins to increase. So the story here is that y begins by decreasing, and then when it reaches this point, or the 0 point for x, then it starts increasing. Here are 4 graphs showing a car loan, and the amount that's owed is here. So as we go up, the amount owed is greater. And this is the number of car payments we made. So here's 0 payments. So this is how much we initially owed. All of a sudden, this graph doesn't seem to make much sense. We don't ever seem to have an initial amount that we owe, and suddenly in 1 month we go from owing a whole bunch all the way down to owing 0. Not exactly sure what happened there. I can't really come up with a story that describes that. I can here, though. This would say I bought a car for this much, and I started making a payment each month, and the amount that I owed on the car went down. This one is a little odd. I bought a car and owed this much, and I made a payment each month, but the amount that I owe goes up. Hard to imagine how that would happen. And finally, in this example, I start out with owing this much on the car that I just bought. I make payments every month, but I never owe any less. That's not a very good deal for you either. Let's look at this one. Here's another story. If you're taking a history class at the same time that you're taking this math class, this could apply to you. This student drew this graph to describe what happened in writing their history paper. The words typed are here, the time is here, and the starting point is here. The starting point is not at 0. So we must have a situation here where the person had worked on the paper for a little while and had this many words written, and they picked it up and started again and started writing a bunch of words over time. So as time is increasing, the number of words is increasing, they're working on the paper. They get to here, and they got tired and decided to take a break, probably got up, got something to eat, stretched their legs a little bit, got back to the computer or the paper they were working on, looked at it, maybe during this time they were reading the paper as well and decided they didn't like something in it, so they erased some words. So the number of words typed decreased down to this point, and then they started typing some more in, so the number went back up. Finally, in this graph, the story here, this is the heart rate, beats per minute, and this is time in minutes. So every 3 minutes, we're checking the heart rate to see what's happened. And you can see in this case, the heart rate started at 75. So the person just standing there doing nothing was had a heart rate of 75 beats per minute. Then they did some cardiac exercise, and you can see the heart rate starts to go up. So after 3 minutes, it had gone up to 105. By 6 minutes, it had gone up to 135 beats per minute, and then it stayed there. It didn't keep increasing. It stayed right at 135. So whatever exercise they were doing it at a rate where their heart rate did not change once it got to this elevated level. So the heart rate increased through this area. It stayed the same here. And then here, what happened? Yes, it decreased. It started to come back down. It didn't get all the way back to 75, but maybe if we had checked at 33 or 36 minutes, that line would have kept going. So for this quiz that you have on the first lesson, these are the kind of stories they were having you look at. And the important words here are to know that this is an area that's increasing. This is an area that it's staying the same. And this is an area where the values are decreasing. Always be sure and notice what the labels are if you have graphs. In this case, we're just looking at general trends. As X moves, how does Y move? And this one, we were presented with some situations that really didn't make any sense. This one makes no sense. That's a pretty odd thing where you pay and owe more on the car, and this is just about as odd where you pay and owe the same amount. I wonder if anybody could think of a way that would happen. Okay, that wraps up this video for the first lesson in Unit 1. I hope that helps you if you're taking the quiz again. If you haven't taken the quiz yet and we're just using this for some additional information, I hoped that helped you.